Time out.
I need a signature from all of them.
The left.
You know, that rain yesterday, was all 2 minutes ahead of it. And I went to the funeral home for this. When I come out, there was a humongous limb laying in the road on the other side. I wrote you.
After 3 minutes. I went to the house, got an umbrella, just kept going.
Didn't rain at my house. Wind blew. Thunder, no rain.
No rain?
We didn't get the drop.
Y'all shouldn't send the trees down that Timberline Branch.
That's what I was hearing too.
A lot of them.
A lot of fences down.
Heard that high wind.
I think they're going in over there, because like right by our house.
Well, I know
The whole road was covered with.
thing in Stillsby was out last night after church. And Donna said that Walmart was out for,
Mhm.
And they had a dead tree.
didn't come back on after midnight. And she said they have like regulations that
Yeah, I
say
was
you
surprised.
can't, you lost food. She said they won't let you have it, they said they just throw it in the compactor. And she said they won't come pick that compactor up till later in the week and it was dead big.
Just 287. Like them big trees.
Well, but, you know, that's the law, that's the rules.
Okay, Buck, you finished over there?
I think so, sir.
All right. It is 10:01. Let's go ahead and call this meeting of the Commissioners Court to order. Let the record reflect that the quorum is present. And Janet, can you speak in behalf of the county clerk that this meeting has been duly posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act?
Yes, sir.
All right. With that being said, we want to go ahead and acknowledge that this particular court exercises a practice of an invocation and a pledge of allegiance prior to the beginning of our meetings. And should anybody present choose to not participate, certainly feel welcome to step outside, or if you're viewing by way of broadcast, mute your line. We rotate that among the commissioners, and today Commissioner Hudson will be providing that pledge and invocation for us. Commissioner.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for the day. Thank you for the rain that we got yesterday. Pray that you would bless us with more of it, and then in the coming days this week. Pray that you would be with all of our first responders and our Army people, our military. Pray that you would bless this court today, and all the decisions that we make would be pleasing unto you. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
American flag.
Okay.
Salute, pledge.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Commissioner. We want to take an opportunity to welcome our guests with us today. Glad you're here. We have public comments to begin the first portion of the agenda for today. And I'm told that we have one signed up, just one.
Leanne Mock.
Okay, Leanne, just a little disclosure, you know that there's a time limit of 5 minutes. You can make whatever comments regarding, but other than that, we may or may not choose to respond, so that's our disclaimer, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I want to take this moment to recognize some of our employees that have had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 year service, 30-year service today. And just kind of announce who they are. And we actually have one with us this morning that we'd like to just say a quick congratulatory thank you for your service, that kind of thing. And you're better off because you're here. 5 years, Byron Stowe at the Sheriff's Department. Ronnie Ford, Constable, 5 years. Carrie Yeager from the Tax Office, 15 years. Jamie Glosson from the Adult Probation, 15 years. And Ms. Allen, we can right here. We have in our presence 30-year tenured county employee.
How many?
So,
30.
So on behalf of Tyler County, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything.
A survivor.
And, a survivor. We are truly better because you are. Very much, I appreciate it.
And we look forward to the next 30 days.
Yeah.
See you at 50.
Does money come with them?
Just my student. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Treasurer. Okay, that's going to take care of public comments, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's going to take us to our table items, and Mike, you have the only item on there. Do you want to bring it from the table for any action?
We're gonna take that off, Judge, we're not going, yeah, I thought we'd already taken it off.
Okay. Jamie, if you will, just make a note, Mike just says go ahead and delete that, so we'll bring it forward on the next agenda. That'll take us to Roman number 3, our consent portion of the agenda. I think you've gotten a notification of our June 13th minutes, did you not? Okay, so that's item A on the consent agenda. It's a practice for us to receive those into the record with or without any kind of conditions or corrections. So is there a motion for such?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mike. And Commissioner Stirk had the second. Comments?
Joe Edison.
Go ahead, Seth. Okay. You just threw this for
Yes,
us.
right.
All right. So we have a motion to receive the minutes of June 13th with the second. All in favor, aye? Any opposed? And it is unanimous. That'll take us to our monthly reports. I would just call to the court's attention that I think that the adult probation, the county clerk, and both the extension agent's reports, as of the printing of this, were not included. I don't know if any of them have been sent to you, but we just want to call that to the attention. Those are the ones that are not a part of our packet. Otherwise, we can receive the monthly reports by virtue of consent. And if you choose to want to discuss any of them, certainly we can do that as well, just set them aside for discussion. Otherwise, Chair will entertain a motion to receive the monthly reports
So moved.
by consent. Thank you. And we do have a motion with second, and Commissioner Stirk has the second. Janet?
Yes, sir.
All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, and the motion carried unanimously. Now, we have, under Roman numeral 4, resolutions, proclamations, or orders. So that'll take us to Roman numeral 5. And Commissioner Marshall has the first two items.
I make a motion to approve budget amendment line item transfers.
Okay. There's a motion. Commissioner Hudson has the second from Commissioner Marshall's motion. And I think there was an item before us.
Yes, sir.
For Alderman
JP.
J3, okay. All right. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
And it sounded like that was unanimous. Commissioner, please continue, item B.
I make a motion that we pay our county bills.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion. Commissioner Stirk has the second for the paying of the county bills. Comments, questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And the motion was unanimous. Item number C, Commissioner Blacksher.
Okay, appoint judges and alternate judges for the general election and special elections for a 2-year term. I put that in the form of a motion.
Okay,
Second.
thank you, Commissioner Marshall with the second.
We should have received. No, that's your election agreements.
For appointing the election judges and alternate judge, Donnie mentioned she might want to table this, but you don't have all the agreements as of yet.
No, okay.
Okay.
Table that. then.
So the motion to table,
Second.
second by Commissioner Stirk. All in favor of tabling the item?
Aye.
Okay, and it is unanimous. The item will remain tabled to a future agenda. Commissioner Stirk, I believe you've got the next 7 items.
Right, D is the selling of a 2019 Mack truck tractor and a 2019 CTS belly dump trailer to Runnels County, Texas. Bring that form of motion.
Second.
There's a motion with second, Commissioner Blacksher.
Yeah,
Comments or questions?
this is a government entity to a government entity agreement. They've already approved the purchase of it, so I just asked that we approve the selling to them.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions? All in favor, aye? And it was unanimous. Continue, please.
Number E is open bids for road improvement for County Road 2100 from the intersection of 256 for a length of 1/2 of a mile. Bring that form in motion.
Second.
And Buck Hudson has the second. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye? And it is unanimous. Let us open the bids then for that road improvement for County Road 2100.
How many bids do we have for that?
We had 3. Jack Alexander, CCC Blacktopping, and Gulf Coast.
Can you repeat those 3 for me?
Yes, ma'am. Jack Alexander, CCC Blacktopping, and Gulf Coast.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Move on to the next.
Those bids are open, so we'll move to item F.
Open bids for County Road improvement, County Road 1100 from the intersection of 256 for 1.3 miles, and I bring that in the form of a motion.
Second.
There's a motion with second. Commissioner Blacksher, comments or questions? All in favor, aye? And it's unanimous. Let us open the bids on item F.
Same 3.
And 3.
Okay. And we can go to G, I guess. We'll
Yes,
open
sir.
bids for road improvement, County Road 1100 from the intersection of, it's going to be County Road 1010 and not Farm Road, for 6/10 of a mile. I bring that in the form of a motion.
Let's go ahead and recognize that FM should be a CR on that.
Correct.
For the minutes purposes. I don't think it'll prevent us
And this is correct on the bid, it says.
Oh, good. From, thank you.
I second.
All right, there is a motion with the second, Commissioner Blacksher. All right, are you ready to vote? All in favor, aye? Okay, and it's unanimous. So let's open the bids. Megan?
It's open and it's the same 3.
And she'll go and print all this out for y'all, so you can skip
Okay.
forward to go down to the emergency standby, and then she can print
Right.
everything out.
If we don't have any objection with, we pass on awarding right now until she can print those off, and we'll go down to K to open other bids.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Sure. Commissioner Marshall, you've got item K, I believe?
I make a motion, we open bids for emergency standby services.
Thank you. Is there-
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Stirk has the second. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye? Okay, let's open the bids.
It's loading, but I'm pretty sure Garner is the only one we have.
And they're here. Still loading.
Looks like that one's almost over.
Maybe.
It's just, we can play the Jeopardy thing.
Yes, Garner was the only one, and us is no.
Okay, so item L, Mike?
I make a motion, we open bids for monitoring and debris management.
Second.
There's a motion, Commissioner Stirk has the second. All in favor, aye? Okay, motion, let us open the monitoring of debris management bids.
I've got a question. So did open bids for emergency standby services,
We open.
Yes.
Yes, and it was Garner.
that was the Garner?
Yeah, the one, we hadn't awarded it, but we opened it.
Garner Environmental
Is
Services,
it GARNER?
Yes. Thank you. I apologize for that.
I had a hesitation when I put it at the end.
And there's only one for L, is that right?
I believe so, I think the name was Debris Tech.
You're still spinning
I
there.
can't see it yet. debris tech.
Debris Tech, okay. Janet, did you get that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, it takes us to item M, Commissioner.
Make a motion, we award bids for emergency standby services to Gardner.
Yeah, because they're the only one.
Okay, there is a motion. Commissioner Stirk has a second to the only bidder, Garner. And comments or questions? We want to recognize the representative that's here with us today. Good morning. Okay, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? And I think it's unanimous. That'll take us to item N, Mike.
I make a motion, we award bids for monitoring of debris management to Debris Tech.
Okay.
The only bid.
The only bid. All right, and Commissioner Hudson has the second. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye. Okay, it is unanimous. Item O is Commissioner Hudson.
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion that we discuss out-of-county travel deals and hotel accommodations and with possible action. And I'm going to ask Ms. Skinner to elaborate on that, please.
Second.
There's a motion, well, it's a discussion, certainly.
Yes.
All right.
Um,
But wait a minute, let's, we've got a
Second.
possible action, so let's go ahead and acknowledge the motion, acknowledge the second. Okay, all in favor, aye. Okay, please continue.
When we first did our policy, we had stated that if y'all had given an amount that for meals and all that, and stated, or whatever, in the mileage, whatever the IRS rate was, but in the policy, it doesn't say that. And also, we had and you should have the policy in your things. I left mine over at the office, but I just want to make sure that it's in the court minutes, that it's okay to do that, the IRS, whatever the IRS rate is. Because when we first did per diem, we were a little bit higher than what the IRS said was okay. And they said, you can be generous, but you can't be under what they what they say. So it's now went up to $59 per diem. And I wanted that in the minutes of the court that it'll be what the IRS rate is. And then if y'all ever want to change it, then we can come back to court and change it.
You don't like per diem or mileage or both?
Both.
Both,
Went
okay.
up, so the per diem went from 50 to 59.
Mhm.
The mileage went up to what, 60?
65.
Yeah, it went up pretty good
Yeah.
amount. So I just wanted to make,
So I guess what you're asking if
Make sure we're not under what the IRS.
we follow whatever the IRS is it something? we have
unless
to
y'all
do?
want to change it, and you can be more generous, but you
Right.
can't be under what they say
So if we do this and they go up, then we will go up.
without having to come back to court to do it.
We just need to be notified that they went up.
Correct. And we currently do that for the mileage,
Right.
and it was stated about the mileage, but it wasn't about per diem.
Per diem.
So do we need to
So we need to,
do another motion?
Yeah, I think what we probably want to do, just so that we have it in the minutes, is that we acknowledge the discussion and it had for the possible action. So why don't we do an attached motion to this item for action?
We'll make a motion that we go
Okay.
with the IRS schedule.
Okay?
second.
There is a motion with the second for the attachment motion to item O for the possible action portion of the item, and that was, a motion was second. Comments or questions? All in favor of the attachment motion? Okay, and it was unanimous. That takes care of that, and that takes us to, Leanne, you've got item P, and that's the 60-day waiting period.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you wanna, I don't know who's.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
there's a motion and second for item P. All right, and that's gonna bring us up to your presentation.
So Matt is going to work for juvenile probation, and he's worked for the county for some time. And it is our policy at this time, he's worked for the county, but he's worked for the state, so it's not been county technically a county employee. So our policy states that he has to wait 60 days because benefits for the county actually take effect. And so I would like to see if we could waive that 60-day period so that he can start his benefits when he starts work on the
Wednesday, whatever the date that is, yes.
Come on in.
Speaking of, we're
You're the
just talking
topic of
about.
discussion. Come on in.
I was trying to.
Outstanding.
You were waiting 6 days.
I wouldn't normally recommend this, just because we don't want to deviate so much from our policy. It's just that he has been part of our county for some time, and it's been a lengthy amount of time. And so I do ask for that exception.
Okay, so we do have the motion with the second. We're in discussion. We've heard the presentation. Is there additional comments or questions?
And that's just a county policy, the 60-day period, is that correct? It has nothing to do with our insurance or tax or anybody, that's just totally internal.
And I think, Commissioner, it would be appropriate for us to just acknowledge that it's for this particular person
Right.
only at this time, so we're not deviating from,
Matt O'Neill,
but we're just acknowledging the person.
he's doing a lateral transfer basically from adult probation to juvenile probation, still in the same system. The only thing that's gonna change is the insurance.
Correct. I mean, and it technically wouldn't be an issue had it just not being state funded, and he currently has state insurance.
Any additional thoughts, comments? Ready for the vote? All in favor, aye? And it was unanimous. Congratulations, man.
Can I have the motion and the, second?
I made the motion.
Marshall.
Stephen made
I
the
made the second.
Okay,
Thank you, appreciate
thank you
that.
for remembering. Okay, so it was unanimous. All right, on item Q, Stephen, I really had intended for you to be bringing that, but I'll just go ahead and tee it up. I mean, it's the annual, usual and customary, or semi-annual, I think it's
Yeah, I
every
think
2
it's
years.
biannual.
Yeah, but obviously, we're in hurricane season, that started. It's a possibility that they could need the facility. They have used it in times past. I'm not aware of anything that's changed. I believe that they are still saying that they're gonna leave it exactly the way that they found it.
They always have, so.
Yeah. So it's a formality of us doing that. So,
I'll put it forward to motion.
okay, thank you. There is the motion with second, and that's for the agreement between Sam Houston Electric Cooperative, or SHECO, as a staging area to contract with hired workers in the event of disaster at the rodeo. Okay. All in favor, aye? Okay. That takes us to item R, Mike.
Yes, sir, the W.T. Coma Snail House. They want to, I make a motion that we approve it as a historic site and exempt from property tax.
Okay. There's a motion, and Hudson's had that second. Okay, comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Okay, motion carries. That'll take us, Mike, to item S.
Upgrade county clerk election reporting system to the latest certified version to support new Windows 10 and enhance security, along with providing additional RAM required to run Windows 10.
And if you'll notice that fee on y'all's report, it'll be totaling of $1,689 on total.
To
To
upgrade
upgrade, it'd be $1,609 even.
609.
689, 1689.
Okay, yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, that was your
Yes,
motion, Mike. Okay, Mike has the motion, Commissioner Stark has the second. We've heard the amount before the court regarding the action. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Okay, and that is unanimous. Item T, Commissioner Blanchard.
Okay, selling of road and bridge precinct 2, 2008 Caterpillar 140M motor grader SN B9D00395 to road and bridge precinct 1 for the amount of $115,000.
$150,000.
And I put that in form of motion.
Second.
There is a motion with second. Commissioner Stirk had the second. Comments or questions?
And this is a,
She made the motion, yes, at the price.
well, I actually, well, you gave me the prize.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Wait, give you credit.
I've been, looking for a machine and they're pretty hard to find right now. And I'm going through the bidding process. I've talked to several guys and you're not gonna find something right now in a rate that I can afford. And, I'm gonna end up selling a John Deere and hopefully put that money towards this machine. And, but I just need something, to replace a 91 model.
Okay, any additional comments or questions? All in favor, aye? And it was unanimous. Congratulations, commissioners. All right, item U, I have that. Ken was supposed to have talked with each of you regarding this, and he said that he's in training this week, but he said that he would be available for a call if y'all wanted to discuss it further.
Call
And so, we've had the IRIS system for a number of years, and a couple of, I think it was last year, we started looking at that. They haven't, I don't want to say they haven't, it's just that there's some other options out there, and DECOG began to explore this, and so I think y'all got the background on that, and he just wanted that to be before the court so that as this comes up from DECOG, we will have already taken some action and prepared ourselves to support that decision.
I think the way Ken talked, this was a cheaper route to go also.
Yeah, and it has some enhanced benefits.
Yeah.
And if DECOG does that, then it can be, all 11 counties can be notified by one central location.
Correct.
If it affects all 11 counties too. Sure.
I did not.
I'll make.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Stirk. All right. You know that action item information, all in favor, aye? Okay, it was unanimous. Item V, Commissioner Stirk.
Discuss and possible action to authorize Tyler County Commissioners Court to execute a professional services agreement between Tyler County and the Iglesias Law Firm, PLLC, to provide alternative services for the HUD-funded Community Development Block Grant Disaster Relief, CBDRD DR 2017 buyout program, contract number 20066 016 C112, and I'll bring that in form of a motion.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion, Commissioner Stirk, Marshall had the second that I heard. So that'll take us into conversation and let's see, possible action.
Yeah. Langford, I believe, is the one that they requested that we do this for technical reasons, of maybe not. If we don't do it, we might not get reimbursed for some of the stuff. It has to be an action of court to be shown that
It's a requirement of.
require the grant that we take the action. If they send a bill, we can get reimbursed for it if we have this action in court.
Additional comments?
Approved in court, not just the action.
Sure.
Approval.
Yeah. Additional comments or thoughts? So it sounds like that maybe we do want to go ahead and take action,
Yes.
and we want that to be reflected.
If we won't reimburse for any services.
And we definitely want
Yeah.
reimbursement.
Okay.
Okay. So we're now at the action portion of the item, and all in favor, aye? Okay, and that sounded unanimous. And let's see, Mike, you got the next two, W and X.
Okay, amend section 10, VA in the current Tyler County, was it supposed to be just
It just take the age out.
no age on it? Tyler County Employee Handbook Policy as it pertains to pre-employment drug testing to read as all full-time and part-time county applicants will be required to submit to and pass a urine and/or a blood, alcohol, and drug test as a condition of employment.
Second.
I put it before the motion.
So we got the motion, and Commissioner Stirk jumped right on the second. So that takes us to discussion. Don East did call me the other day and asked me about the H being in there, and there was a question about could that be inferred as being the hospital? And so for clarification's sake, we've brought it up in court. It was said that it was just a typo, it was an addition that didn't need to be, so we want to acknowledge that it has no place in this action. It's referencing specifically Tyler County Employee Handbook, not to infer any of it. So you've heard that as far as the clarification. You have the item, it is in the state of continued conversation and discussion.
Leanne, what does it say now, Leanne? Does it not have that in there right
It says just the urine,
now? Okay,
and the reason to change that is so that we can do them here and get them back quicker.
do blood test?
Well,
Not here.
possibly. The only way they can do the alcohol test now is by blood. They don't do the blood test anymore. And it's optional, so I mean, it's not something that's, would have to be
There's
done.
not a shall in there, it was just so we could accommodate what our
We
hospital.
could go either way.
Yes, what our hospital can do for us. Now, I will say, on the hospital side of it, we currently pay $46.20 for a drug test now. The hospital tested 129. Sandra did say that she would honor the $46.20 if we decided to do that and send them down there, until budget talks, and we can discuss at that point. But in order to be able to get our drug tests back in a timely manner, you and I,
Yeah.
that is, to get them back in a timely manner, we have to do this change.
Okay, any additional comments? You ready for the vote? All in favor, aye? Okay, and that was unanimous. Let's see, Mike, that takes us to item X.
TAC, HEBP, whatever all that means, renewal.
Health and,
What, is that part of
With
your
our health,
health employee?
our renewal for our insurance.
Okay. So I can put it in the form of motion.
okay, we got the motion, Stephen has the second. Okay.
I would like to,
Oh, this is.
the date on this is what, the 18th, Leanne?
It's, right, it's the 17th, I believe. 16th,
Yeah.
17th,
I'm
whatever.
at the bottom, that's why.
And I just wanted it to be there, whether you take action or not, we need it to be there. And I think Jackie sent out some information as well, for y'all to be able to see that, so that for whatever reason, hurricane, whatever, yeah, whatever. That it's there and that it's available to be signed and ready to go for that deadline.
And it's going up about a little over $28 per employee.
I would like to table this until we can look into the dental insurance. I'd like to look and see what the county benefit is on the, or the tax benefit is on the dental insurance, if that's all right with you guys.
Okay, so there is,
We can bring it back.
you want to do it in the form of a motion?
Yes, sir, I'll put that in the form.
Is there a second to the table?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mike. All in favor of the table? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and it's unanimous, so the item will stay on the table. I'm getting stacked up.
Printed these one out as one, they were the only one, and their bid was 103 pages, so.
We're going to take a little breather here.
We'll sort it out.
All right, I think this is here. Let's start with this one.
Okay, that's a great test. We've already ordered that.
Right, and here's the monitoring one.
Okay, so this is candidate.
Great, thank you.
This one is like here it is. Mike, it looks like this one is another one, yeah.
Yeah, there was three different bids, weren't there? Gulf Coast.
I think this is great.
Oh my gosh, we're not letting you sort paper.
just for your notes.
Yes, sir.
The item X is tabled.
Yes, sir, table, Blackshear, motion, Marshall.
Correct. And all voted yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yippee. Let me tell you all about this food. Okay. Tell me when you're ready.
I'm totally confused. I don't know what's going on.
We just got to go back up to the,
Well, we can do that at the end. We can do the bid at the end. We'll do that.
Looks like those shows might be the cheapest.
It's three different.
Mm.
All two of them. One for 10, 10.
Nothing, they have either. I don't know what all it is, I'm just not even fool with it.
So we're fixing to jump back up to H.
Or we can go through and come back to the either way.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen? You want to take some action on item H, which is the bids that are before us?
okay, whatever it states.
Yeah, it don't matter to me wherever you are. Which one is first?
Just tell me which one we need to look at.
It's the 2100 from 256.
Okay, so that's item H. Okay, so when you get ready and you want to make the motion, you'll do it on item H, okay?
All right, I got to see. I got no money.
Yeah.
21.
This one's 21.
So the one for,
This is 2100. And this is 2100. So, from what I can tell.
Who is?
Whoa!
Yeah, Jack Alexander.
So,
yeah, so Gulf Coast is
Gulf Coast is the
94,
lowest one.
282.68. Jack Alexander was 163,985. And then CCC Blacktopping was 117,105.
Gulf Coast is 94, right? 94.
Correct, that's the lowest.
I'll make a motion to award Gulf Coast on the item H, which is County Road 2100 from 256 for the amount of $94,282.68. It was the lowest bid.
There's a motion. Did you say second? Okay. Commissioner Hudson has the second on item H. Comments or questions, discussions? Janet, for the minutes, would you repeat that number again?
$92,282.68.
94,000.
$94,282.68.
That's correct.
Okay. So, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it is unanimous. Item I.
So then we'll go to I is County Road 1100 from 256 for 1.3 miles.
And Gulf Coast again is the cheapest at 169, 5 for 33.59. CCC Blacktopping is 272,875, and Jack Alexander is 413,875.
All right.
Big difference.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to pass on that one. I can't afford that.
So,
To
we're not
reject
gonna
all
take,
bids.
okay. So
But
no
I don't have
action.
enough money unless somebody wants to loan me some.
We awarded on
You don't mind.
no action on this?
Yeah, no action.
You were making eye contact with me. All right. No action on item I. Commissioner, do you want to go to item J?
Yes,
Okay.
award bids for road improvement, County Road 1100 from the intersection of 1010 for 0.6 miles. Put that for a motion.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion with second, Commissioner Blacksher has. That'll take us to a recommendation.
I don't have no papers on that one.
Gulf Coast is still the lowest at 107,689.56. CCC blacktopping is 147.85, and Jack Alexander's 193,021.
All right, well, I make a motion that we award the bid on item I. No,
Jay.
J.
Oh, sorry,
J.
yeah.
Item J, from on County Road 1100 from County Road 1010 for 0.6 mile to Gulf Coast, who had the lowest bid of $107,689.56.
Okay. So that is the recommendation. We already have the item on there. This is discussion portion of it, so it comes as a recommendation for what you just stated.
Right,
All right.
107,689.56.
yes.
Let's have some discussion, if there is any. If not, all in favor of the recommendation? Aye. And that was unanimous. Thank you.
Who seconded it? Stuart?
Jim.
And
Second.
Blacksher.
Stephen.
Thank you.
Yeah, motion
Yes,
and
sir.
second.
Stephen and Matt Blacksher. Thank you.
No action on Laura and Lundy, that doesn't sound
I
like.
didn't hear.
Okay.
All right. So that's going to take us to item Y, and I have that for you, gentlemen. This was a fun little exercise. I received this last week. They are wanting some action on it pretty quick, and so I discussed it with David Iglesias because it is something that I think that we need, because I wasn't familiar with this, but apparently the county has been a member of this finance corporation, which lists all of these entities that are members collectively since 1981. C.D. Woodrum is still the representative voice on that finance corporation of these entities that bonds can be issued through under that name, okay? He said that, and I'll just read it. He said, "It is not necessary for you, Judge, to call a meeting of Commissioners Court to authorize the execution of this certificate." I didn't want to go there. So I had David look at it. What he was interested in knowing is the portion under the general certificate for Tyler County, if the Tyler County was a member of any other finance corporation. Donese was not aware, could not recall, told David she's been here over 40 years and she wasn't aware that we were in that. Secondarily, the county is not involved in any kind of a litigation reference the issuance of bonds. So that was very specific because obviously we are involved in some litigation proceedings right now, but it's not in reference to the issuance of bonds. So we satisfied that portion of it. This particular developer is looking to rehabilitate an apartment complex by way of bonds. It's in Longview, which is in Gregg County, of which they are a member of as well. So there's a number of, so I wanted y'all to be aware of this, and I really am seeking for there to be an acknowledgement of me going ahead and signing off on this with y'all's blessings.
So I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion for the approval of me to sign off on this, and we will get that.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Spur. Comments or questions? I can talk a whole lot more about it, but I don't think we'll do any good, y'all. Yeah. I just wanted to be sure we were not getting ourselves in any kind of a situation, and he addressed it. He was a former county judge whenever I first came into office in '07. And he serves as general counsel for this corporation. And he referenced that when he was a judge, the thing that they would look for is the impact on, let's see. He says, former county judge, a principal concern that we always addressed is the fact that these bonds issued by the corporation are payable solely by the developer. So it doesn't bind us in any capacity whatsoever. So that's good to know, but I just wanted y'all to be.
What I was gonna bring up also, we might want to remember this, come January, to have somebody in that position.
That's a good thought. Very good thought. And I don't know that they meet.
Yeah.
CD, I crossed paths with him within the last 3 or 4 weeks and discussed it. And he said, yeah, I think I'm still the representative on there. So anyhow. All right, all in favor, aye. Okay, motion carries. Item Z, Commissioner Marshall.
I make a motion we approve joint election agreements and ratify contracts between the county clerk and political subdivision in Tyler County.
Okay.
Second.
There is a motion with second. Commissioner Blacksher has the second. You saw the copies of that. City of Comanille and City of Chester, both were the ones that were submitting this to us. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Item AA is Commissioner Hudson.
Yeah, this is wanting to grant a variance for the cross-court land addition number 1. I'd like to make a motion to waive the requirement of the groundwater availability study.
Okay, so there's a motion. Commissioner Blacksher has the second. Comments or questions?
Actually, Buck, I had a lengthy discussion with Jed, and he said for tier 2 development, we've ever been changing, the subdivision rules as we go. And he said this is just something that we can do away with only on the tier 2 development.
Yeah, and I spoke with him also, and he said that, and he gave some documentation, and I don't know if it's attached to this, but they got documentation from someone who had done the groundwater studies close to where this was. And he said there's no doubt there's available water, so it's not a problem, but on 15 acres on this subdivision, it was gonna cost $28,000. And so that's why he asked for the waiver on it. And he said that there's definitely, it's a half a mile from Turkey Creek, so I'm sure there's plenty of groundwater. But,
Well, I would make a motion that we amend this to remove that requirement out of the tier 2 development, but leave it in the tier 1.
Okay. So the amendment of, state it again.
I move that we remove the requirement for groundwater study out of the tier 2 and not require that in tier 2 development, and then put it, or leave it in tier 1 development, and then we can waive as we see fit.
Okay. So you're amending
Yeah,
the
to
standing
remove it
motion that's on there.
instead of granting a variance.
Okay. So Janet, did you catch that?
Yes, sir, he wants to take that out of the tier 2, the groundwater study, but he wants to leave it in the tier 1.
Okay.
Only remove it from tier 2.
So based upon the amendment, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Marshall has the second. Let's vote on the amendment, gentlemen. All in favor, aye. Okay.
Who seconded?
Now, okay.
Thank you.
So we're going to go back to the original motion. Any additional discussion on the original motion? If not, all in favor, aye. Okay. And the motion carries with amendment. That takes us to item B, Commissioner Stirk.
Purchase a cell phone in addition to cell phone allowance for the county judge's office and recurring charges on the county judge's credit card. Bring that forward in motion.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll make a second, so we can
Okay.
have some discussion.
All right, we got a motion with a second. Now ready for discussion.
Yeah, the thing I'm concerned about is that we, in our policy, we either have a cell phone for the elected officials or we get money for it, one or the other, so we don't need to have both unless there's a reason to have both.
Okay.
And that's is if we open it up and start doing it with no regulation against our policy, not following our policy, we could possibly have an extra cell phone in every office there is, so.
And can I make a comment? Because we give everybody a cell phone allowance, and Leanne can probably speak to it better. If you take it away from one, you're treating them differently, even though you got a cell phone. And we can get in trouble because here's the reality. If she calls, or if he calls her on her cell phone, if it's intended to do away with it, to have her have a cell phone, or whoever it is, if he calls her, she's got two options: either don't answer the phone or answer it. If she answers it, then she's used her personal phone for county business, so therefore we're obligated, and it could get us in trouble later if she wanted to come back and say, hey, it was taken away from me, however. And I'm just wanting, if I don't have a problem with a cell phone, I don't think we can take it away from an employee. I mean, I guess you could, but TAC HR doesn't think that's a thing to do. The other thing is, it's not a phone that's gonna be getting an itemized bill that can be audited. It just is loading minutes that's charged on a credit card. An agreement had to be checked, the box had to be checked to be able to reoccur that charge. And our credit cards were originally issued for hotel because the hotel wouldn't let you check in unless you had a credit card for incidentals. And so that's my only thing. I don't have a problem if he wants a cell phone for his office. But as long as it's one that's not just gonna be a reoccurring charge on his credit card. Also, the thing about anything you charge on a credit card, if you come back later and say, where did I buy this? Well, there's not gonna be a vendor because it was charged on the credit card. And is anybody gonna remember that? And we went through that before with the renovations that we had. They come back and asked who did this, and we didn't because or where we bought it, we didn't know because it was charged on the credit card. So it's just, I don't have a problem with a cell phone as long as we get a bill from a carrier. I'm fine with that, but I'm not with the way it is at the moment.
Is that, I guess, maybe you can explain what your plan was. Was that what it was for your employee? Your employee gets a cell phone allowance now, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you're gonna take that away and give her a cell phone? Is that?
No.
Okay.
The purpose of it is my phone, connected to the county phone system, has been having a lot of irregularities with it. Y'all know we didn't even have phone service during the month of January, bought new phones. We're still having some challenges. There's times that we go that we don't get any calls and we can't figure it out. So apparently the internet goes down and affects it where it is. So we're in hurricane season. We're in drought condition and we're under a burn ban. And my concern is communication. So I visited with Donald and I said, here's our challenge. I need to know that this phone is going to be able to be answered, that we won't have downtime. So we discussed it at length. We can forward the 2141 to a cell so it starts getting its signal off the tower. So it can transfer it from the internet-based telephone service to the cell phone. That's going to give at least a backup. And it becomes specifically a duty phone. I think I wrote that down somewhere. A duty-specific device. In the event that Becky's out and we have it transferred from 2141, then that person can answer that 2141 office number through that cell phone device. It's for the purpose of being able to maintain communication for all of the judicial type of activities as well as the emergency management type of activities. they won't commingle it in with her personal cell phone that she gets, that she has for personal use purposes. So I discussed,
Yeah, we give the employees money so they can buy a cell phone where it's a cell phone like this or their own that it can be transferred to.
that's the problem, Stephen, is transferring it to her personal cell
So
phone.
we give her money to where we give her money to cover a phone that she doesn't have to use as her personal cell phone.
Steve, can I say something to that? Like Jackie said, it does become an HR issue. So if Becky answers her phone at 8 o'clock at night, I'm technically supposed to pay her at least 15 minutes, no matter how long that
Yeah,
phone.
it doesn't matter if it's her phone or any phone, if you
Exactly.
get called, it doesn't matter whose phone
I
it is.
understand, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can set the duty phone to come on and off at a certain time. And I think that was the appeal. I am like Jackie, I do think that there probably should be a better accounting purposes for that. But on the flip side of that, on the HR side of it, anything outside of her 40 hours, we're gonna have to start.
It has nothing to do with the cell phone or who's paying for the cell phone.
It has nothing to do with who, I mean,
Right.
but if
That's
you
a
can
total,
shut
that's
off.
a totally different issue.
Well, no, it's not, because if you can shut off the duty phone,
But then you don't need it then if it's only on during the day at the office hours, you don't need a phone to carry home.
well,
If it's gonna be turned off.
well, at a certain time, if we're going to 4:10s, from what I understand, and if the office is open to public access from 8 to 4:30, then the 7 above that, and then the 4:30 to whatever time in the evening that you work to make up those 40 hours, then you're not necessarily in the office.
And one of the issues is the internet-based county phone to transfer to 2141. So if it's not ringing on 2141, it's not going to transfer to anyone's cell phone, no matter whose it is, if it's not working. If the internet-based phone system is not working, it's not going to transfer that, which is one of the concerns, is they're not getting calls. But if they're not getting calls in the office, it's not going to transfer.
I
the
just
call.
want to point out the fact that that phone can be shut off at 7 o'clock, and she answers, because she's not going to shut off her own phone.
But
And if she
we
answers
give her
it-
$50 to buy a phone with, that she doesn't have to buy.
No, I totally
That she
get
can
that.
cut it off anytime she wants, if the judge says they cut it off at 8 o'clock at night.
But I'm not going to call my personal phone,
Well,
you know, whatever, but also in her situation, if she wanted to,
Yeah.
I mean, we'd have to start paying her outside of that 40 hours.
that's exactly right. That's pay anybody, not just her.
I
And
understand.
if you go by her house and knock on the door and ask her a question, you gotta pay her. It
Oh.
doesn't have anything to do with whose cell phone it is.
And the issue is not the cell phone
Right.
itself. It's just, it needs to be from a carrier that, because I have no way of auditing that it is being used for county business. I don't have any way of auditing that it's not.
Right.
And so that number on this bill can be ported over to a bill through Verizon or however it wants to be done. And everything's fine. We're good.
And we had this 2 or 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when we had 60 different phone bills coming in. And we got away from that and went to a cell phone allowance just because of the problems of all of that it caused. It was cheaper to just pay the employee, give them money to buy them a phone however they wanted to use it. And it wouldn't have to be their personal phone, but we went away from multiple phone bills every month. I was involved in the sheriff's office with 40 or 50 coming through there. And we backed away from that because it was so confusing and so much paperwork and just hard to get things done. I mean, but it was going through Verizon and not through a credit card. And I think that's what your main issue is. But my issue is we're going to back up to where we were 3 years ago and start this all over again, you know?
okay.
Is there a way to do this new phone service to shut it off at a certain time, the call forward?
I can address that, because Donald and I specifically talked today. I said, I want it to be able to start at a certain point and end at a certain point on each day. So after some discussion to try to address the challenge that we were faced with, he said probably the easiest, the simplest, and the cheapest is let's just get a phone from Walmart. Let's subscribe to Straight Talk, and then it's programmable to where you can set it up to activate at a certain time and deactivate at a certain time. And if she's not there, then whoever is going to be covering for that phone doesn't have to specifically be sitting at her station. They can handle that phone. And we've done that for the last couple of weeks, and it's worked very successfully. We did talk to Straight Talk and said that we want to know how to apply for the exemption for the tax purposes. You can't on this particular level. So I paid for the $2.37 and I'm glad to do so. I talked to Donald, and he said that this particular service is able to be investigated in the event that there's a concern and you want to see when it was used and how many calls came in and how many calls went out. And so we vetted it out as best we could just to try to solve the problem.
So are you gonna get a bill?
We can get a bill.
And that's fine, but I don't want it a reoccurring charge.
It had two options on there. We thought, hey, recurring, I mean, you just set it up for the rest of the 6 months that I'm here, and then you don't pay it anymore, and consequently it dies. So we went back in and set it up to where you have to pay for it, just like you buy minutes. But the plan that they have is unlimited nationwide calls. That's just what they offer for $45. So for the last 2 weeks, we've tried it. And on Fridays, you may know that Tanya, who works underneath Stephen, she has answered the cell phone. It activates at 7 in the morning and it cuts off at 6 at night. So if it rings, and so when Bert called Friday before last, she sends me a message and she says, hey, you need to call so-and-so at Bert. So I called. We had a citizen that had need for the judge to be able to move forward with the needs of the mental concerns that they had. So we were able to cover that and solve the problem that we had. I understand it's different. My belief was when we originally started out on the cell phone allowance, it was to allow us to be able to communicate with our employees who had disconnected home phones and they were using cell phones. And the question was, well, you don't pay for my cell phone, I don't have to answer your call. And then the discussion was, well, we'll just pay for your cell phone, therefore we can reach you when we need you. So it's an allowance. This is a office-specific type of piece of equipment is how we were looking at that. Donald said you can go into it every single day if you want to. You just open it up. You can see what activity was on there if you want to do that. If there's any concerns of any kind of a illegal activity, he said we can issue whatever it is and go back in and pull all the history from every activity that took place.
But there's not gonna be a bill itemizing the calls that came in and went out?
It's gonna be a credit card bill.
Still seems like,
That's fine, if it can be ported over to a regular bill, that's fine. It's the fact, because you're saying we can access, but that wouldn't mean I could access, that would mean you could access.
He said you can access it, and I called and reached out to, because you had raised the question in your email about auditing. So I called Bell Cares Pahatchik, and I said, hey, what do you require as far as looking at this stuff from us? And she said, I'm gonna have to check with the office in Houston. I'll get back with you Tuesday, because Monday I haven't heard back from her. So I don't know if maybe she's, but.
Well, can we table this till our next meeting?
Sure.
Give you time to- We'll find out.
Because I don't have a problem with him having a cell phone for the office, as long as there's a detailed bill of calls that came in and went out.
Well,
Because-
I would think if you're gonna do that,
Well, that's fine, but it's a court decision. I'm not gonna make this decision by myself.
If we're gonna do it as an office, I think it needs to go to court and have a contract with whatever company it is, I would think. You know, a governmental contract with it, if it's gonna be a part of the county office equipment, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't really wanna go back to where we were at 2 or 3 years ago when we had all these cell phones out there that the county was paying for. But I would think that it would need to be a governmental contract. If the county is, it's a piece of equipment for the county, it needs to be a governmental contract with whatever phone company it is.
The only problem I have is if you get a phone that shuts off this time and Becky's still getting, or you are still getting the allowance, you're still gonna have the same problem, you know, because those people, unless you just directly transfer to that phone, but people can call her phone.
Here's what you do, you have a personal phone and you have a work phone, and they don't either one ever shut off.
That's what the $50 is for. I mean,
So now you have phone for work or to compensate you for your personal cell phone so that.
whichever way you want to do it. I mean, if you want to put it on your personal cell phone, that's fine, or buy you a work phone, use that $50.
You were asking to table.
Yeah, I'd like a motion we table it.
Okay.
Next meeting.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor,
Can you
aye?
add something to that to approve
Okay,
to go
so the
ahead and
motion
take
is
all?
tabled.
Can you amend it to do that?
Yeah, I'd like to amend, we need to pay Donald for the,
Yes, for his services.
Second.
amend that we pay Donald. We'll make a motion to amend.
Second.
Was it even on here about paying Donald?
It's
Or
in the
you can-
paperwork.
You
The
can,
reoccurring charge.
you can back it up to the accounts payable bills if you want to. This was separate, as long as, you know, you're aware that I'm gonna pay it,
I'll let you
pay
pay
his
it.
services.
Okay, Mike Marshall amended to pay Donald, who seconded it?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, so we're tabling item B, and the item of,
X. X. That's the two we're taking, is that what you're asking?
yeah,
X, B.
we've got one more. Yeah, right here. Item C, those three are tabled.
Oh, okay. I thought we approved that, C.
She went through, we didn't have all.
That's right, she asked.
Yeah, she wanted us to table it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got three.
Let's see, we are at comments by court members pertaining to matters of county government. Well, we kind of did some of that.
Yeah. I think we made enough comments.
We, I will say that it looks like, and you might have heard this, Judge, the mod's gonna be approved around the 28th, and, they are gonna have a meeting, I think GLO is gonna be up there, talking about the money, so I don't know if you guys wanna go, but it,
Yeah, I think it will be after the DECOG meeting
Yeah.
on the 28th. I don't know if they're doing it after before. I'll be on vacation, but they do hope that the law will be approved. The people will come down from Austin and kind of give details on y'all's project planning or whatever you plan to do. And that was a question that I asked was, you know, were they going to include the commissioners and judges? And I think that was kind of up to Lonnie. But I would probably go so that you can see what you can cover,
it's gonna be in Hempfield,
see what you can cover.
it's gonna be in Hempfield, 20th.
Okay,
On my calendar.
anything else on comments from anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, there is a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we stand adjourned, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, now we stand adjourned.
First Baptist Church in
Do what?
First Baptist Church in Field.
Leave it 28.